Hundreds of police cars lined the streets of downtown Los Angeles early this morning for the funeral of Officer Nicholas Lee. I'm Kristen Rogers, and coming up, we'll have more on how the LAPD is mourning the loss of this officer.
The death toll is now up to 8 in the gas explosion in Harlem. We spoke to a New York resident about the current conditions in the area.
Architects, engineers, and designers put their talents to good use today. Find out how they're using cans for a cause.
Annenberg TV News is next.
You're watching USC's first source for news, Annenberg TV News.
Fallen LAPD officer Nicholas Lee's family honored him, along with hundreds of fellow police officers. Police officers and city leaders from all over California came together to pay tribute to Officer Nicholas Lee. Good evening, I'm Ashley Regal.
And I'm Camille Riquiestas. The veteran officer was laid to rest at Forest Lawn in Glendale this morning. Nicholas Lee served the Hollywood area for 16 years before he was killed last Friday in the line of duty. ATVN's Kristen Rogers takes us to the emotional service at the Cathedral in downtown LA.
Thousands of mourners gathered at the Cathedral of Our Lady of Angels to honor the death of Officer Nicholas Lee. Lee was killed less than a week ago after a trash truck crashed into his patrol car. Governor Jerry Brown, Mayor Eric Garcetti, and LAPD Chief Charlie Beck were all at the Mass to speak about Lee's impact on the city of Los Angeles.
When I look out and I see that sea of blue, I see his face. He was a quintessential LAPD officer. He was one of us. He was the best of us. But even more importantly, we are him.
Lee leaves behind a wife and 2 young daughters. His brother also spoke. He said their family will come together now more than ever.
The oldest daughter, Jalen, who was 10, asked, "Who's going to take me to the father-daughter dance?" That's when it hit me all at once. Well, Jalen, I'm going to take you.
According to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, over 40% of officer deaths were caused by traffic-related accidents in 2013. It was the leading cause of deaths for officers in the line of duty. And for Officer Lee, his crash is still under investigation. The LAPD will continue to celebrate the life of Officer Lee through some of their traditional rituals.
The mounted unit will pay tribute with not having one of their horses mounted. Certainly a 21 volley salute will also take place.
Lee's brother urges this community to continue to live their lives like Lee did, with hard work and dedicated service.
So rather than mourning today, let's celebrate the life of Nick Lee, a well life lived. Let's stand up and celebrate so loud that he can hear us all.
In downtown Los Angeles, Kristen Rogers, ATVN.
A memorial fund has been set up by the LA Police Federal Credit Union in Lee's name. Visit atvn.org for details on how to make a donation.
2 people are dead after a suspected drunk driver plowed through a crowd of people at the South by Southwest Interactive Film and Music Festival in Austin, Texas. 23 others were injured, 5 were wounded when the driver crashed in front of a nightclub shortly after midnight. The man tried to get away, but police officers used a stun gun to stop him before taking him into custody.
Tell him to stop because he was going the wrong way, and when I see he didn't stop, I just jumped out of the way and he missed me.
Austin Police Chief Art Acevedo says the suspect was driving erratically before the crash.
He's in a smaller vehicle. He was able to weave his way through some of the vehicles. He accelerated at a high rate of speed down the street, going the wrong way on a one-way street.
Event coordinators expect events scheduled near the crash site to be rescheduled elsewhere. City of Austin Mayor Lee Leffingwell also expressed his deepest condolences for the victims and their families.
There's no way to express the deepness of our sympathy and condolences for these folks. It is truly a tragic event.
The suspect is facing 2 counts of capital murder as well as multiple counts of aggravated assault with a vehicle.
At least 8 are now dead from the Harlem gas leak explosion. Rescuers pulled 4 more bodies from the rubble today. The explosion was triggered by a gas leak yesterday morning that injured more than 60 people. One 15-year-old boy was critically injured with burns, broken bones, and internal injuries, and at least 5 people are still missing.
The ceiling tiles started to fall down. The back wall was lined with mirrors. The mirrors started to shatter and fall down.
Everyone is shaken, but we're all sticking together and working through this.
We spoke to a New Yorker who described the scene his colleague witnessed on the way to work today.
When he went past the site this morning, the smoke was still coming up, which is disconcerting. And there was a really massive pile of rubble.
Rescue workers are continuing to search the debris. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating the gas leak, but officials say a fuller examination will have to wait until after the rescue efforts concludes.
The search for the missing Malaysia jetliner has expanded to the Indian Ocean. Officials say the plane may have flown for several hours after its last contact. White House Press Secretary Jay Carney announced that the search is now moving westward.
Pursuing possible leads, working within the investigation being led by the Malaysian government, and it is my understanding that one possible piece of information or collection of pieces of information has led to the possibility that a new area, a search area, may be opened in the Indian Ocean.
Experts predict that the search could take weeks or longer.
Secretary of State John Kerry is preparing for tomorrow's trip to London to speak with the Prime Minister of Russia. He warns the country of the serious steps America will take if Monday's referendum vote allows Russia to annex Crimea.
If there is no sign of any capacity to be able to move forward and resolve this issue, there will be a very serious series of steps on Monday in Europe and here with respect to the options that are available to us.
In a UN Security Council meeting today, Ukraine's prime minister announced that Russia had carried out military aggression against his country. There are currently more than 20,000 Russian troops in Crimea. The stock market fell again today as tensions between the U.S. and Russia intensify over Ukraine. The Dow Jones dropped by 230 points, finishing at 16,100 for its 4th loss in a row. The Nasdaq fell 62 points at 4,260.
President Obama signed a presidential memo for the Labor Department today, the first step in helping more workers become eligible for extra pay for overtime hours.
Today, I'm going to use my pen to give more Americans the chance to earn the overtime pay that they deserve. Now, overtime is a pretty simple idea. If you have to work more, you should get paid more.
Critics say the proposed bill could overburden companies and cost jobs. The rule is not expected to take effect until fall. The Senate agreed to renew 5 months of unemployment benefits today. That would affect more than 2 million Americans. There was bipartisan support to extend the $9 billion measure, giving benefits back to millions of Americans who were cut off in December. The House still has to vote for the legislation to pass.
As the first open enrollment period for Covered California comes to an end, one local community is celebrating enrollment momentum. ATVN's Fiona Wang spoke with excited advocates.
Community members gathered at Olvera Street today to celebrate the millions of people who enrolled in Covered California.
Millions of Californians have gotten coverage, but we don't want anyone to be left behind.
Covered California gives residents a chance to compare health plans and choose the best for their needs.
I have saved a lot of money and I've gotten better coverage with complete continuity of care, so I'm really happy.
Was eligible for a subsidy, which helps me pay for my insurance, which I didn't have before, and now I can go to the doctor whenever I need to.
Young adults is one of the main groups the program targets.
And we have to get young people who might not otherwise be thinking about insurance to think about it and care about it and get it.
USC was awarded one of the largest grants to target community college students in LA County.
Right now, students at USC are only covered, so their spouses and their dependents aren't covered under the USC plan. So what we wanted to do is show them the options that they're eligible for.
Critics say the cost of coverage will increase for people who already have health care. But some doctors are happy with the program.
We're expecting to see Cover California actually do really well and get a lot of people involved.
California maybe become a model for other states.
California is #1 right now in the whole country in getting people enrolled, but we're not satisfied. We want everybody to get enrolled because we don't want them to suffer later on if they don't have the enrollment.
March 31st is the last day to sign up for this year's coverage. Fiona Wen, ATVN.
The LA County Sheriff's Department says an inmate convicted of stealing computers from a healthcare office is on the loose. Christopher Lee Brown escaped from a downtown jail last night. He was serving a 4-year sentence. Prosecutors displayed pictures of Oscar Pistorius' girlfriend's dead body today in court. The images showed his girlfriend's corpse, plus blood on the stairs and walls, and the bullet-riddled bathroom door. Pistorius pleaded not guilty to murdering his girlfriend, saying he thought she was an intruder. He faces 25 to life in prison if convicted.
Syria's parliament has passed a law that would allow multiple candidates to run for president. This law opens the possibility of an end to the reign of the Ba'ath Party that has been in charge since 1963. However, some restrictions would keep certain candidates from running.
They say that you have to be a citizen and permanently living in Syria for 10 years. That excludes a certain class of people, especially the opposition who are out of the country for decades.
President Assad has not yet made any formal announcement of whether he plans to run for re-election when his term ends in 4 months.
Today marks Pope Francis's 1-year anniversary as leader of the world's 1.2 billion Catholics. Pope Francis has made a name for himself as a man of the people. Born in Argentina, he's the first Latin American pope in history. In light of his anniversary, he said, "Please pray for me," to his millions of Twitter followers today. Pope Francis has denounced many of the luxuries previous popes embraced. He chose to live in the Vatican guest house instead of the palace. He's typically seen wearing humble robes and devoting time to the plight of the poor.
And may the blessing of Almighty God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Pope Francis maintains an exceptionally high approval rate at approximately 88% among Catholics. He's considered more progressive on social issues than his predecessors. USC professor of religion, Father James Heft, believes that this has been an extraordinary first year for Pope Francis.
The new one that has been elected has never failed, and he's also picking up on a better approach to the sexual abuse crisis. This Pope is moving it to a systematic effort at stopping it.
Father Huff said he thinks it's going to take the Pope's extra energy to bring about change in the Vatican.
Spring break is almost here. We've got some tips to help stay safe on your vacation.
A dangerous intersection got a new traffic light. We talked to residents about the impact it will have on the community.
And one USC organization is stripping down for a cause. Find out what they're asking President Nikias for.
A hit-and-run accident killed a 23-year-old last September, and now the city is doing something to make sure this doesn't happen again. ATVN's Julia Dang spoke with drivers, pedestrians, and city officials at what residents call one of LA's most dangerous intersections.
This intersection, 11th Avenue and 48th Street, has been the scene of dozens of accidents, 5 involving pedestrians since 2005.
I've seen many accidents going the same direction, making left turns and end up by the pole and everything like that.
Today, the city finally activated a new set of traffic lights.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's part of a project that includes new bike lanes, left turn signals on 48th Street, and right turn lanes on Western and Normandy. Councilmember Bernard Park says safer streets are worth every cent the city is spending.
It's closer to $1 million than $500,000.
Before today, there was a stretch of about a quarter of a mile where there were no lights or stop signs on 48th Street.
The next traffic light, I think it is down by, I think that is 8th Ave.
23-year-old Tiffany Baymore was hit by a car and killed in this intersection back in September 2013. And her death is one of the main reasons the community pushed for these new traffic lights.
It was just very tragic. He didn't even stop and didn't even slow down to see what he hit.
The hit-and-run driver who killed Baymore still hasn't come forward, but her mother says the new traffic lights mean she didn't die in vain.
I didn't think it was going to be a light. I thought it was going to be a flashing light that you push and you walk across and they'll stop.
She brought her granddaughter, the toddler Baymore leaves behind, to watch the lights go up and to thank her friend Kimberly Everett.
She was there when my daughter was killed. She held her hand, so she wouldn't be alone. She helped get this light put up.
Still, Councilmember Park says pedestrians need to be careful.
The fact that there is a traffic signal doesn't give you license to go out and compete with cars in the runway.
He's urging pedestrians and drivers to respect each other, and anybody with information about Baymore's death to come forward. Julia Dang, ATVN.
The city of Los Angeles is repairing broken sidewalks and walkways between 79th and 83rd Street along Sepulveda Boulevard. City Councilman Mike Bonin and Public Works Commissioner Kevin James explain how they plan to keep the sidewalks safer and beautify the Westchester area.
Bureau of Street Services has removed ficus trees which damage the sidewalk. We removed the existing sidewalk and replaced it with a meandering sidewalk.
That's all right.
More federally funded sidewalk projects are in the works in other LA County areas.
A PETA member will plead not guilty to over-protesting the Rose Parade SeaWorld float. She claims the crime was necessary to save lives. Other PETA supporters protested outside the Pasadena court building in support of Amanda Slider.
That showed an orca family jumping freely in an ocean, we were all disgusted because that is something that SeaWorld rips away from all of these animals.
The Float Entries Committee says it approves all the floats to ensure each design reflects the theme. The committee did not address its lack of response to PETA's complaint about animal abuse.
Architects, engineers, and designers showcase creative structures made out of canned food in downtown LA today to raise money and awareness towards hunger issues. The Construction LA Food Drive uses art and friendly competition towards a positive cause. All proceeds and canned food used to create the structures will be donated to the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank. Volunteers were excited to use their creative minds and collaborate with each other.
It's really for a good cause, and it integrates what we do, which is design, and yeah, it was just, and there's that sort of slight competition against other firms, which is sort of a draw, and good to see how everything else turned out.
Passers-by came in during their lunch break to take a look at the artwork and were supportive and pleased with what they saw.
I think they're amazing just in terms of artistic ability, but also the way they kind of just pull you in with their message. I was reading some of the signs, and the one behind me says it's reflecting, talks about reflecting hunger issues back to the city, so I think that's a really good idea. And we need to talk about it and do something about it.
The food drive will continue throughout the weekend during the Downtown LA Art Walk. We've had such warm weather this week. It's been like summer.
Yeah, it's been beautiful, and I hope it lasts through spring break. Let's check in with our weather anchor, Alexa Liaco. Alexa?
Thanks, Ashley and Camille. Well, get ready for an absolutely beautiful weekend. Temperatures are definitely heating up.
Let's take a look outside right now. It's 64 degrees, cooling down from our day today. The low tonight's going to dip down to a chilly 50 degrees. Winds are pretty calm, humidity not too high, and we still got a few more minutes of sun, so get out and enjoy that evening. Looking into tomorrow, we're going to see temperatures mostly in the 70s around the Southland, a little cooler at the beaches, Malibu 61, Pacific Palisades a little warmer, 71 degrees. Out in Palm Springs, it's going to be hot, 87 degrees, and right here at USC, we're going to have a gorgeous sunny 73-degree day. And for all you Trojans sticking around for spring break, it's going to be perfect beach weather. Saturday, we're going to start warming up with an 83-degree day, and on Sunday, it'll be a toasty 88 degrees. Monday, still in the 80s, but on Tuesdays, we're back to the 70s with a few clouds. So you guys better get out this weekend before it gets cloudy again.
Yeah, I think I'm heading to the beach this weekend.
Sounds good.
Sounds great. Thanks so much, Alexa. USC's Student Coalition Against Labor Exploitation rallied today to protest USC's ties with companies that hire sweatshop workers. Students stripped down and marched from University Church to President Nikias's office in Bovard Auditorium. Participants say they'd rather go naked than wear clothes manufactured in sweatshops. Students hope today's march will draw attention to their efforts.
Ignore both other students and the administration, and yeah, people really like it. It's a fun, weird thing.
The Vice Provost of Student Affairs says he's having ongoing conversations with concerned students, including Scale. He also says USC clothing is manufactured under safe and fair working conditions. As we head into spring break, several Trojan teams will be suiting up for some important matchups.
But I did hear one team will be traveling to some luau country. We'll turn to our sports anchor, David Bessam, for more.
Thank you, ladies. While all of you are hopping on flights to Cabo and Vegas, the women's water polo team is heading straight for Hawaii, but they have one tall task before getting some extra sun. Women's basketball is going to the big dance, and they're ready to celebrate. We have details on the selection process. And the football team is in full spring swing. Pro Day is over, and the team is moving forward. Don't go anywhere. ATVN Sports is next. Welcome back to ATVN. The women's water polo team aims to go 2-0 at the Wu-Tang Sioux Aquatic Center with a tough test against the number 4 California Golden Bears. This will be the last game before the women of Troy head to Hawaii for a 3-game stretch against top 15 opponents. And with the warm sun and cool sand beckoning, the team realizes they have to focus on taking care of Cal at home first.
Big conference game. We've been preparing for them for a little bit of time now. We're excited for it. We're excited to have a tough game in this new pool.
It's going to be our first big game in the new pool, and definitely been focusing on them lately. They have a lot of strengths, so they have some really good players, a couple new girls that we've been focusing on, but you know, they're always a good matchup.
You can catch the women of Troy on Saturday at 4:30, and following the game, the team will go on a week-long break before flying to the Aloha State. On to the hardwood, the women of Troy are headed to the NCAA basketball tournament for the first time since 2006. The team will be holding a viewing party during the selection show Monday afternoon in the Founders Room at the Galen Center. SC gained an automatic berth in the tournament after upsetting number 1 seed Stanford and Oregon State. The number 2 sand volleyball team was looking to rebound from their 5-0 loss to top-ranked Pepperdine. The women of Troy squared off against CSU's Bakersfield today in their first home match of the season. Before the game, the team acknowledged it has a better sense of what they can do to improve moving forward.
We definitely took it as a learning experience, and now we have to really focus on each other, on the team, and know that we have to come out fired up because we were a little low on that in the last game.
The women of Troy certainly seem to have fixed what went wrong as they swept CSU Bakersfield today. USC will face Florida State and Loyola Marymount this weekend. Well, so much for that sizzling start. The Trojan baseball team has lost 4 of their last 5 games, heading into a daunting 3-game series against the Oregon Ducks. SC will fly to Eugene to face the 9th-ranked team in the country, and given the recent string of inconsistency, they believe that they just need to relax.
When we have fun is when we perform the best, you know, going out there executing what coaches want from us, and pitchers do a good job, and then hitters just keep hitting. The last couple of games, I think everyone's trying to press a little bit. I think having fun will relax us a little bit and get us back where we need to get going.
Opening pitch for Game 1 is tomorrow at 6 p.m. It's the first of 2 big conference series, the second coming against the Stanford Cardinal. Day 2 of USC spring football practice is in the books, and the Trojans have officially moved on from their pro day. As SC says goodbye to the likes of Marquise Lee and Dion Bailey, players like running back Buck Allen and wide receiver George Farmar see an opportunity to make an impact, and they are confident they will get the job done next season.
It's a team effort, man, and I'm here to push all my teammates, and I expect them to push me, treat me as no different. I just want to be a leader for them.
My knee feels very strong, and I'm confident in my rehab for the last 10 months, so I feel great. I feel better than ever.
The Trojans will have another practice on Saturday as they continue to implement their new offensive and defensive schemes under new head coach Steve Sarkisian. So a lot to like from USC so far coming out of spring practice. Hopefully they can keep improving and the coaching transition will be seamless.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much, David.
Thank you.
Campus is dying down as USC students get ready for spring break.
As a Marshall student, I'm going to Santiago on a link trip.
I decided to stay here and work at the bookstore.
I'm going to Cabo. We're leaving tomorrow. We'll be there for the weekend until Monday.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Vegas with my friends.
Yeah. I don't really have plans. I'm just going home.
The U.S. State Department released tips for students traveling during spring break. They recommend having the contact information for the U.S. Embassy or consulate closest to your destination. And if you lose your passport, the State Department says to contact the American consulate so you can leave the country that you're visiting. You can find out more tips at atvn.org.
So what are you guys doing for spring break?
I'm with one of those people, I forgot who it was. I'm going home. I'm just going to take it easy for my senior year, but it should be good.
Catch up on some rest?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Alexa's headed to Cabo.
I'm headed to Cabo with the rest of USC to celebrate my birthday, but
happy birthday to you.
That's great.
Well, thanks for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at ATVN, I'm Camille Riquiesta.
And I'm Ashley Regal. You can watch us on the web at atvn.org. Good night. Have a great spring break.